launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
All right, good morning and welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show as I come to you live from our Orlando studio. Nick Geddes in a somewhat sweltering RHS TV studio. Oh, there's a lot of this going around. I've heard a lot about it. Air conditioners failing everywhere. And I guess I picked a day to stick in the Orlando.
Yeah, what the hell's going on?
It's nice in here.
Yeah, and what the hell's going on with the air conditioning at Advent Health Training Center? There's no air conditioning out there either. Get in a hot car where in this heat, it doesn't matter how good your AC is. You still just it's just a hot box.
It's going to take 5-10 minutes to cool down.
I stepped into here this morning, and I'm just like, it's a sauna.
Oh, dude, sorry about that.
We soldier on. We soldier on.
Soldier on, yes. Living in Florida without AC is not an option, no question. Good morning to you, Christopher Cole, Bucks, Rays, Bolts. Good to see you guys already in. We got a great show for you today. Dan Lucas, News Channel 8, is going to join us at 10:30 as they get set to produce the first Bucks preseason games coming up Friday night against Pittsburgh. Mike T will be in town, fresh off of his crowning of Rondé Barber and his gold jacket ceremony. So it's good to see Mike T back in town. I've had a long-term relationship with Mike Tomlin as well, back to his early days here, and look forward to talking to Coach T. So we'll tee up all the Buccaneer stuff. We played the Devin White stuff live for you yesterday, but we've got much more reaction on it, which is a huge positive, obviously, for the Buccaneers. So we'll get into that. Kyle Trask talked yesterday. Some interesting notes there on that quarterback competition. Sal Paolantonio was in town yesterday for ESPN, so I had a chance to sit down and talk with him for a few minutes. I'm very interested to see kind of the information he got because he spoke with Todd Bowles yesterday and Ryan Jensen as well. So I think you'll see some of those reports on SportsCenter coming up today. Rays and Cardinals, the preseason college poll is out. We'll get to that. FSU checking in. Top 10 at number 8, ahead of Clemson, I might add. Worthless polls, they are, these preseason college football polls. But whatever, we'll talk about that. More conference realignment stuff. What else did I find? NFL stuff. We got tons of stuff to go. So first for you were at camp this morning. Tell me, what'd you see? What happened?
Yeah, obviously, I love watching the offensive linemen, kind of like you. I think that's my favorite part of going to camp is just listening to Joe Gilbert speak, as I said last time. So I cued in on them, immediately searched for Ryan Jensen, saw he was in there, and he was fully padded and getting practice in. So that's good to see because if you listen to what Todd Bowles said yesterday about Ryan Jensen, it didn't really sound that optimistic to me, to my ears at least, about basically a straight up, I don't know in regards to when he's going to get in there to 11-on-11s. And I had to leave right before that part of the practice, but at least from what I've seen, it doesn't look like Jensen's in there today with these 11-on-11s. No shot he's probably going to play in the preseason. I think the way things are going, you're almost looking at a long shot that maybe he's even out there week 1 for the regular season.
Here's the thing. And I was talking about this with Sal Powell and Mike Sando yesterday, two obviously national NFL reporters. And I said, I think this is a huge story. And, ACL injuries are obviously very common in the NFL. They are the injury that probably derails more seasons than any injury in football, save concussions. But concussions, clearly you can come back from. But ACLs, you're done for the year. That's the killer, right? That's the one. So there's a huge focus on this particular injury. And as we told you last year, we're the first to report that Ryan Jensen was going the stem cell route. And that when I told you then, that was groundbreaking. This is going to be a huge story. Everybody's going to be following this. This has implications not only for the NFL, obviously, but other sports, but society in general. Medical people are watching this with a very, very close eye. There is a huge pull and fight right now in the medical world between the orthopedics surgeons, who obviously have a lot invested in this, and the regenerative medicine doctors, the stem cell doctors that are curing things that used to only be done through surgery. So clearly, this is an existential crisis for orthopedic surgeons. They are going to push back tremendously on this. So they're watching this. Everybody is watching this. It's very under the radar, but everybody is watching this. And, it's something that I haven't really been able to get a good feel from the organization, or if Jason Light's even been asked about this, is how was the organization from a decision-making standpoint dealing with this? How was, what was the process last year when Ryan said, you know what, I'm going to go this route instead of the traditional surgery? And I want to, try to get back by the playoffs. This is Tom Brady's last year. Ryan's talked about this.
Right.
He's also said he has some regrets and maybe he should have gone the surgery route, which kind of tells me, that this is, if I'm quoting him correctly, but he just doesn't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows until he gets out there. I've been told that all the tests are good. His strength tests are good, but he's just not participating.
Yeah, and he did get in with a couple. I remember now. He did get in with a couple one-on-ones, which is something he has not done this so far through training camp. So that's a little bit of a positive progression. Again, this was maybe 2 or 3 reps against I think Deidre and Sanat, and at least to my eye, it looked like he held his own on those. But I will say, if Ryan Jensen, because I think at this point, especially in his career, because what is he, 31 going on 32? Might already be 32.
Right.
Coming off this injury, you have to take it very, very cautious with him, I think. I will say, if he is out for an extended period of time, and I mean as if not coming back in the preseason, maybe being out week 1, whatever it is, I do like the fact that the Bucs do have good options behind him, because him not being out there is giving a lot of work to Nick Leverett and Robert Hainsey, who are competing for that backup center job. Me and you think the same way of how we feel about Nick Leverett. Obviously, you play guard, center. It's a little bit different. I thought Hainsey, for the most part, held himself together last year, at least from a pass blocking standpoint at center. Have noticed there's been some issues with the snaps, though, with Baker and Hainsey, and that kind of happened again today. But again, Hainsey last year was snapping to 6'5" Tom Brady, and Baker is 6 foot maybe.
Yeah.
And the issue there is he's been throwing him over Baker's head. So a couple things to get worked out there, but it's still early. But yes, in general, I like the depth that they have there. And of course, it's going to be a bit of a fall off from the play of Ryan Jensen, but I don't think it's going to be too steep.
Well, I might disagree with you there. I think that Ryan Jensen is an all-pro. He is the heart and soul of this.
Yeah, it's the other things he brings.
Line.
It's the other things. Yeah.
Exactly. He was the guy, and that's why when he went down last year, this team suffered dramatically. That's why Tom Brady suffered dramatically. It's why Tom Brady had to take a day off from camp when Ryan Jensen went down. He brings way more than just his excellent play, and not having him is going to be a huge blow to a team that needs leadership, frankly. So I think it's a huge loss. Now, listen, he's not gone yet. I don't think the book has been written on this yet at all. The problem is if he does have a setback and has to choose surgery, he's done for the year. And for the Buccaneers, that's 2 years you've wasted and paid him a lot of money to be on this team. So it was a gamble. It worked in terms of him being able to come back for the playoffs. But, in the end, they got their ass kicked. So what did it really mean? It's just, I think it's fascinating. And I do think that there's, there could just be general soreness of getting back out there.
Right.
And eventually the knee will hold up. We just don't know. But I think it's a fascinating story. So we'll see.
Yeah. And the other thing I have to point out, too, I mean, you can make a case that the Bucs have a concern / question mark, honestly, at every spot on their offensive line.
Sure.
You can make that argument. And we've already talked about right guard and right tackle with the inexperience of Cody Mauch and Luke Gedeke. We just went down the center position, and we don't know what the status is of Ryan Jensen. Matt Filer, at least in my mind, I need to see something. I mean, they've anointed this guy as the starting left guard, brought him in, very excited about him. Seems like he's been a bit of a journeyman throughout his career.
Not highly rated by PFF.
Probably serviceable at best, so I have question marks at that position. And then Tristan Wirfs, listen, I know everybody says that it's Tristan Wirfs and he's going to make that adjustment because he's that damn good. And I'm not going to bet against the guy, but right tackle is not the same as left tackle.
It's still new.
If you heard Tristan Wirfs' press conference on, what was it, Friday, I don't think we've played it here, but he talked a lot about the mental aspect of that position and how hard it's been on him. And he kind of really opened up about his mental health and the psychological part of it, which was really refreshing to hear. But that kind of tells you just how much of a transition it is for Tristan Wirfs. So while I think the parts that I've seen out there, he looks like he's adjusting well, I'm not going to bet against the guy until you see it. you have to put some level of question mark on there. So, is that great necessarily that you have a
No,
question mark at every spot on the
no,
offensive line? I mean, you've
no,
covered this team for a long time. We've seen it.
no.
We've seen it year in, year out with this team for a majority of their time, especially since you've been covering it, where this team has not had stability on their offensive line, and it can take a season
It's a
very, very
disaster.
quickly.
No, you go look at the better teams in this league. They're very solid along the offensive line, and that's true. That holds true in college football. It's just part of football. You've got to have continuity up there, and don't forget this is a whole new offense, and this is a whole new blocking scheme for these guys as well. And you're asking 5 guys who have probably not played these positions at all together to come into a symphony in a new offense with what might be a neophyte quarterback in Kyle Trask, or at least a quarterback you've never played with in Baker Mayfield. That is not a recipe for success in the NFL. I mean, I'm just here to tell you. I don't want to be, Nancy negative here, but that is not a recipe for success. Now, are there pieces and talent here? Absolutely. But that takes time to gel in the NFL. And to think that this offense is going to look good in week 1 is a ridiculous expectation because of the offensive line, because of the newness of everything. This is going to take time, and you better have some patience. I would even venture to say, Friday night, it's not going to look good. And it's probably not going to look good, hopefully, till maybe 4 or 5 games in, maybe after the bye. Will it start really, really clicking? I think those are realistic expectations. If you're expecting this thing, hey, Dave Canales coming in, we love the offense, it's moving everybody, quarterback's moving around, everybody's moving. Yeah, that's rife for dysfunction. It's just because this is the NFL. And I think you should expect that, and don't freak out when it happens because there's a lot of movement. I was listening to Mark Schlereth yesterday, and he was on, I think it was Colin Cowherd's show. By the way, Colin Cowherd, worst take ever on the United States women's soccer team. Worst take ever. Go listen to it, Nick.
I don't think I want to.
I might get into it a little bit later on, but just
Lord.
if you heard it, I was literally like, "Are you serious?" Anyway, and Mark Schlereth on, and Schlereth was talking about how a good play caller can really make an offensive line. He said it's not just calling plays; it's calling an offense, and this is something I've been talking about for 6 months about the offensive line last year, much maligned. But any offensive line would have struggled with a play caller who's just so predictable. Nothing, as you heard. Oh God, I'm trying to brain fart again. Old quarterback. Jeez, I hate when this.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner, thank you. When Kurt Warner was breaking it down, he's like, look, the run game does not match the pass game. It doesn't match. One doesn't work off the other. Let's make it very predictable. This offensive line never had a chance. It just didn't. Now, when you have this offense is designed to do just that. Everything works off the other thing. You don't know if it's bootleg or if it's run, if it's stretch, if it's waggle, if it's, a run pass option. You have to sit and wait. If you're a defensive lineman, are they running? Are they passing? You can't just take off. You can't just shoot a gap. You can't do that. You've got to read and then react. That's why Todd Bowles wanted this type of offense, because he knows it gives his defense fits. You can't be aggressive defensively against offenses like this. So that helps the offensive line tremendously. So that will help these guys a little bit. That said, it's still all new. They're still all new together. Yeah, it's going to be an issue. How they solve that, how they continue to stay patient and work hard with the negative feedback that they're going to get early on, because I don't think they're going to play well, is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, and like I said, first game out of the gate against Minnesota is not an easy task. Week 3 against the Eagles is going to be probably their toughest task of the season. They have the advantage of
week 2. Is that week 2 or 3?
That's week 3. That's the game that's on Monday night, I believe.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that gives them a little bit of a juice. But certainly, I've circled that game on the calendar, as we're going to find out what this offensive line is made of for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll give you. I know we're talking about offensive line. I'll give you a positive I saw, and I think this is fairly an obvious one. I'm not the first one to say it, but every time I'm out there, he just impresses, and that's Devin Tompkins. I spent some time watching them do the drills, and it's like little things, like they're just like little route running drills and little foot drills. But like, I think you can tell when someone it looks different when they do it, right?
Yeah.
Right, and Devin Tompkins, it's so much quicker, it's so much nuance kind of, and, I said last week as a guy that I think could push Russell Gage a little bit for maybe some of those wide receiver 3 duties, and then I'm reminded of the fact that he's so small, and so maybe he's not a guy you can put out there for, like, 60% of the snaps or something like that, but I think if the Bucs are really trying to get the most out of this offense and the most of the parts they have, Devin Tompkins has got to be on the field in some
I agree.
capacity. Because I'm
Listen,
just saying, when
I
you look
said
at
this.
I was gonna say, when you watch Gage and Tompkins, and again, I try to go out there and I try not to I just try going with a clear mind of I don't know who these guys are. And I'm just saying, to my eyes, I see Devin Tompkins impressing me more in these day-to-day drills from the couple times I've been out there than Russell Gage does.
Yeah, there's a lot of people new to the Devin Tompkins party. I was saying this last year in training camp, as you
You were.
recall.
You were.
And during the year last year, I'm like, how is this guy not on the field? We're the slowest team in football, and this guy flashes every day in practice, and he doesn't get to play. The offensive coordinator is a moron. And maybe part of that was Tom Brady didn't trust him. He doesn't like young guys, doesn't like working with young guys. I get it, but Devin Tompkins can freaking play. And this team, how long did we put Jalen Darden out there
Yeah, and
instead of this guy? You effing kidding me?
What I love about him is he doesn't drop the ball. You rarely ever see Devin Tompkins drop the ball. Like even Trey Palmer, who's been really good this camp, he's dropped a few passes at times. I don't think I've seen Devin Tompkins drop the ball. I haven't heard of it. And he's fearless. Even though he's the smallest guy on the field, you see all these clips, the Bucs will put him out of these like crazy catches. And I guess yesterday he made like an amazing catch. It was like the best catch of camp so far. And it's like him basically just kind of willing his way into tough situations down the field. He's fearless. You saw that on the kick returning and punt returning, and I hope that translates to the offense this season.
He's got to play. You've got to get that ball in his hands 3 or 4 times. I'm not saying that he's Tyreek Hill. It's not what I'm saying.
No.
What I'm saying is small receivers can make big impacts in this league. They can. When you get them in the right position, get them in open space, let them do what they do, they can make an impact. And this guy can make an impact on a team that's been kind of slow. All right, so let's we kind of buried the lead here today because we did it a little bit yesterday with Devin White because we played his comments live yesterday, and I think quite frankly they were surprising to me. I was hoping for the best, but I was pleasantly surprised to hear what he said. So why don't you go ahead and set these up, and we'll go through them one by one and comment on them.
Yeah, so we'll go here with Devin White admitting that he was a bit selfish with the whole process so far. So here is that clip.
Just about being a guy who was drafted here, and doing a lot for this program. Just want to be the long-term guy, just want to be a guy like Levante. He been here forever. I wanted to be that next guy. And, we just didn't make it happen when I wanted it to. And that's where I kind of got a little selfish, even knowing I still had the 5th-year option and that was a thing in play. And, I guess early on you don't realize it. You just know, like, hey, I'm at the end of my contract. Let's get it in, lock me in. I know I feel comfortable here. I love the coaching staff here. I love all, the teammates, even the fans, the ones that went against me or the ones still with me. It's all love. But at the end of the day, I thought that was best for me, but at the end of the day, I'm still here. And I came back with a positive mindset, and I'm locked in. And, y'all been watching practice. I've been getting it in. I've been trying to be the leader for this team because, we got a great bunch this year, and I think we can get it done.
Well, listen, you had to have Devin White be great this year. You just have to have it, or this team's not going anywhere. There's not a whole lot of depth on this team. Everything has to go right for them to get to 9-10 wins and win this division. And part of that is Devin White being a leader and being a good player. He has to improve his game, and he talks a little bit more about that on some of these.
Yeah, we'll go to this one here. We talked a lot about how would his teammates react to this and would he be voted as a captain and other things. And here was his give a really good answer here about being embraced by his teammates when he made his return here to training camp.
Yeah, man, the first day I came in, I'm the one led the huddle. Like I said, like it is business. It's all business at the end of the day. It's it's going to happen. I hate that it had to happen that way because I love being here. Like, I can't overexpress that enough. Like, everybody know my love for horses. I got a 9-star born in Florida, so I want to be here. I want to be established here. But, I mean, that's in the past now. I'm going out there. I'm trying to focus on what I can do better, to set myself up for what I want. And, it can't be denied. So I think that's the only thing. But even with me doing that, I'm still doing it within a team effort. I'm just trying to be the perfect teammate for my guys. And, I want to be a captain again. That was one thing. Like a lot of stuff was hard. Like, sitting out was hard. And I wasn't really sitting out because I still came in the building, because I want to be here. But at the end of the day, man, that's over with. I'm on the field. I'm going hard. And I'm embraced by all the guys. I'm out there working and making them better. They making me better.
I mean, this is exactly what we wanted to hear. I think when we were first dealing with this back, a couple months ago, it's kind of what I gave him the old media, a little advice in handling the media. This is exactly what you should do, and he did it word for word. He nailed it. He nailed this yesterday, and he did it with sincerity, and he did it with authenticity. And I think, honestly, it's the biggest development of camp.
I would say, too, like when he was talking about being a leader and the team aspect, he almost reminds me when he was speaking, if you think back to when Jameis Winston used to get up on the podium and talk about how much it meant for him to be a leader.
Yeah.
Like, it almost rings the same. It kind of comes out the same way when Jameis used to say it. I get the same feeling from Devin White. And I'm not saying that from a negative standpoint because I think, we've talked about Jameis a lot and how that kind of transpired. He wanted to be the leader, right? But it was really tough for maybe the guys to rally around him when he's throwing, picks across the yard. And
you got to be a good player to be a leader.
Yeah, you got to be a great player. And I think he's got the leadership qualities down. There's a reason why the Bucs made him the 5th overall pick, and the intangibles part of it, between the ears, I think is a big part of that. But the play has got to match it. And, Devin White, he aced the press conference yesterday. And I love hearing that. And I said, we squash it. What I'm not going to forget, I'm not going to sweep under the rug the tape he put out last year.
No.
At the end of the day, it's about what you do on the field. The tape is the tape. And some of the things I saw from him last year, and I think we all would agree, were downright egregious. Yeah. Some of the worst linebacker tape I've seen from a guy who's supposed to be a star, and plays that I thought took off a little bit that you would have never saw Derek Brooks take off. You would have never saw Levante David take off. Those guys were steady Eddies, consistent play for their entire careers. And that's the next step, I think, in the development of Devin White. I just hope that after 4 years, I kept saying, like, you kind of are what you are. I'm hoping that takes away because I want Devin White to be great. Yeah. But again, I got to judge him off of what I've seen from the tape.
I'm gonna your thought on Jameis Winston really kind of hit a chord with me. So, and let me go ahead and say it now. I've always said this about Jameis. His strengths were his biggest weaknesses, right? He was overly competitive. He could never quit on a play. He never knew when to throw the ball away. He had to make a huge play on every play. And Devin is very much the defensive counterpart to that. He'll go off script and he'll get over aggressive and try to make a play when that's not his play to make. That you got to stay in your position. You got to cover your guy. You got to do your role, do your job, and let the other guys do theirs. Devin sometimes sees an opportunity, tries to make a big play, and it backfires. That's exactly what Jameis Winston would do. Instead of just, the play's not there, throw it away. No, I'm going to try to fit it in, pick 6 the other way.
Right.
You got to know when to do your job well. And I think there's some sound I heard yesterday from him, if you could pick it out, that there's some self-awareness there. He knows what he needs to work on.
Yeah, I'll play this one. Who asked him about his pass rushing and if it was a goal of his to lead the Bucs in sacks, and Devin kind of pushed back on that a little bit, and here was his answer to that.
It's not my goal. I want to be a complete overall linebacker. I want to be like, hey, he's the best linebacker, not just the best blitzing linebacker. And, I got a lot of work to do, but I'm willing to do it, and I'm willing to hone in on everything I don't do good because that's the title I want. Right now it's 2 guys that got the title, and, I think me and Levante, we ain't too far, but, obviously Fred Warner and Roquan. You know, them two guys, they set the bar pretty high last year. And I mean, I know where work needs to be done, and I'm gonna do it. You know, I know what I'm capable of, and you know, I told Levante we're gonna push each other. You know, because we always need to be the guys that they talk about being two best linebackers in the league. We fighting for 1 and 2 or 1A, 1B, and that's just my mindset. You know, and I can put it out there. You know, I can tell anybody, and that's what it is.
I think that's very self-aware that, and whatever Bowles and Light have told him, it seems like the door's open now. It seems like the light is on. Now he's got to go out and do it on the field. I want to see him do it on the field. But
I was going to say, too, because if we go back to last year and listen to the press conference he gave in training camp, we were saying the same things. Oh, Devin White all of a sudden looks like he has some self-awareness and knows that there's a hole in his games. And, you know, it looks like this year he's focusing on kind of honing in on his craft and he's going to become a complete linebacker. Those are the same things Devin White said at this time last year. And here we are a full calendar year later, 4 years into the league, like I said, and we're saying it again. So while I appreciate the fact that he's self-aware and he seems to have understood, he kind of maybe overstepped his, I don't know if this is the right way of saying it, but overstepped his boundaries a little bit with the trade request and overvaluing himself a little bit. You've got to go produce on the field because at some point it just becomes talk. Mm-hmm. At least that's how it lands for me in regards to Devin.
And if I'm not mistaken, Fred Warner, who you mentioned there, and Roquan Smith are the two highest paid linebackers in football.
Correct.
So I guess that's how he judges the best linebackers in football.
I mean,
and he seems very, very focused on money, which is, you know, listen, your play will dictate what you get paid. And I think he's making that connection now. And this has been the disconnection the whole time where he's talking about, I want to be that guy. He's focusing on money. He forgot the other part of it. Like, you got to be the best to get the best money.
Yeah, and it goes hand in hand with making plays on the field and how he's always looking to make that play. Sometimes I feel like, again, I've never played the game, but it almost feels like maybe you can overcomplicate things a bit and overthink things. And if you just kind of, it sounds so cliche, but it's so true. If you literally just do your job and you hit your marks and you stay in the right positions, the big plays will almost like come to you. They're in front of you.
You hope. You hope. Here's the thing. And this is what, you know, kind of scares me a little bit. When you're focused on money, what do you get paid for? Interceptions,
big plays,
sacks, big plays, right? That's how you get paid. And in almost every sport. So sometimes, and this is what you hear people talk about being a selfish player, right? A selfish player. That's when guys go off script, take chances in a defense, try to get a pick, try to get a sack, try to get a tackle for loss, take a bad angle to do so, you hurt the team.
Right.
You're trying to make big plays. Are you trying to make big plays to get paid? Or are you trying to make big plays to win? Because here's the thing. If you're playing within yourself, with what your coaches want you to, within the structure of the defense, you may have to miss out on a few of those plays. But you have to be confident that your organization is honest with you. And Todd Bowles will sit there and say, look, I'd rather you play within the structure of the defense than take all these chances. Okay, that's what we're grading you on. We're not grading you on how many big plays you make. Now, you better trust those people that are telling you this, because those are the same people when you're in contract negotiations who say, you only had 2.5 sacks this year.
Right.
You know, what happened? And you'd be like, whoa. You told me to play I could have got more going off script. So there's a give and take there. And it sounds like Devin does trust. He does trust what Todd Bowles, because he said it many times, I trust what Jason Light and Todd Bowles are telling me. So
right. And that's why we should probably play this clip here that I cut up, and his relationship with Todd Bowles, what Todd Bowles means to him. And we've heard so many times that he thinks of him as a fatherly figure, I guess, is kind of the way we've heard it. Yeah. And here was his answer to that.
Yeah, I go on Coach Bowles first, man. I think he, like, more than anything, he's a father figure, you know. Man, he always been there for me. You know, a lot of people know his wife from Louisiana, so I get invited and I get a lot of meals from their house and stuff. and man, just obviously just having an open door policy. I go up there and watch a lot of film with him, just try to correct myself and, own into my mistakes and get better, and I think that's the thing about him. He's always willing to help somebody grow. And just Larry Foote, man, I think he's just too smart. It's hard to keep up with him. He always trying to teach different techniques and, kind of just put you in that mode where you could be even faster, even smarter. And so, man, I'm taking everything in and just, just trying to be basically a sponge with those guys. Because at the end of the day, I might not have them forever, but while I got them, I'm trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And he just seemed like such a humble guy. I want to get to some of the comments here and questions. This one from Bucks, Rays, and Bolts. Do we trade him before the deadline if he's not doing good, JP? Yeah, you do. It depends on how it goes. If he's saying, look, I'm out of here. If you don't give me a new contract, I'm out of here. You got to see how he's playing. Is he doing what you're asking him to do? Is he improving his game? If the Bucks just go and pay him $20 million a year, and again, I'm on record as saying I don't think you pay inside linebackers, off-ball linebackers, $20 million a year. There are way more important places to spend that money in a salary cap system, especially when you've drafted a guy in Servassier Dennis that you need him to take Levante's place. I get it. But, do you want to make that expenditure if he doesn't improve his game? My answer is no.
It would be again, regardless of what he does, I just think it'd be one of the worst contracts in the NFL.
Yeah.
For $20 million for an off-ball linebacker. And also there's other things. If the Bucks are like 2-5 by the time we get to the deadline, Are they open for business? I know trade deadline has kind of turned into a bigger event around the NFL, but for a long time it was harder to make trades. Does that cause teams to pause a little bit? Where's his value at? We don't know. So just a lot of questions to be answered. But Devin's got to control what he can control. And that's becoming a complete linebacker, like he said yesterday.
Yeah. To answer your question, if I'm Jason Light, unless I see the improvement I need to see from Devin, then no, I don't. I would trade him at the deadline. If the Bucks are, 7-2, I'm not sure when the deadline is. No, I'm not trading him. If the Bucks are 2-7, and he's not playing the way we want him to play, yes, I trade him. Absolutely. If I can get a 2 and a 5 for him instead of nothing, yeah, I trade him. Absolutely. And that's so it's up to him. If he's kicking ass and the team's winning, then you keep him, and he gets a big deal, although not as big as he wants. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Dan Lucas from News Channel 8, my longtime colleague and co-conspirator at the Rondé Barber party after the induction. Perhaps may be drinking as much of the spiced rum, their proprietary spiced rum at the Still House, but I doubt it. How are you, Mike?
I'm not sure how many details I want to let out from the shindig the other night, but I know this. When I wanted to know where the cigars and bourbon were, I asked you. Out of 400 people. Yeah.
And I knew exactly where it was because yes, and the cigars were good and the bourbon was fantastic. It was, that was one hell of a setup. What do you think the Glazers dropped on that party? So CeeLo Green,
we were
Russ,
trying to do the math. We're thinking
Russ, the other rapper.
Just between Russ and CeeLo Green, that had to be over 300.
Okay. I don't know about 300.
So CeeLo ain't getting out of bed for less than 100, 150.
I agree.
And then the guy brings 5 horns on stage, 2 percussion, backup singer.
Was it 5? I thought it was 20. It sounded like 20. That was a fat horn section, bro.
It was those. I said to you, I was right next to you when they took the stage, and I said, when 5 horns get on stage, I know I'm in the right place.
They were so good.
I
didn't know he was. And then he did a couple James Brown songs, and I'm a huge James Brown fan. I'm like, dude, you guys crush it. I was chatting with CeeLo after, and he said, "You one funky white boy, by the way." I said, "Thank you, sir. I appreciate that."
He definitely, when he started playing his Gnarls Barkley,
oh my god,
that got us old timers moving a little bit.
Good.
Put a little life into us.
Rondé enjoyed it.
Nick would have to Google half the songs when he were there.
Yeah, I only know one CeeLo Green song, Dan. I know one. And it's the one. I think it's the one that everybody knows. I think it's the one that everybody knows.
He sings it to me every day.
Exactly.
Damn right I do.
Oh,
Damn
what
right
a
I
good
do.
time. What a good time. A lot of people there. And in the NFL world, I was kind of an A-lister crowd. And a lot of people, some NBC guys were there. It was nice to catch up with Chris Sims.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett was there.
Yeah.
I chatted just briefly with him. One of my favorite conversations of the night was talking music with Jason Light. That was my big thing. And so we discussed Def Leppard, Metallica.
Yeah, he's a big metalhead. Yeah.
Yeah, his AC/DC. So we had a little connection there. It was nice, really nice. But they had the bust. I'm sure you discussed this, but the bust was in the center of the room right when you walk in. I thought it was fabulous, and you get to stand right next to it and look at it. I'm like, damn, this thing really looks like Rondé. Sometimes they're a tad off. I thought it looked great. It was the eyes and the beard that did it for me.
I think it was better than most. I'll give you a Gary Koch on that one. It was better than most. But as I walked through the Pro Football Hall of Fame with my son, I don't think any of them look like the guys. I mean, I just think it's hard to do. I think it's really hard to do. And I just some of them, I'm like, is that really OJ Simpson? I don't. And just seeing him still in the Hall of Fame is just a little jarring. My son was like, Dad, OJ Simpson's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's in a couple of Hall of Fames.
He's in more than one
Hall of Fame and the Murder Hall of Fame.
Right. Well,
Getting away with murder for Hall of Fame.
Yeah. We sat down with Rondé a few months ago. He described the process with Blair Buswell, the sculptor. He's done this for more than 30 years. And he said they had a couple of sessions, about 4 hours each. He went out to his shop out in Utah, and they just stood there and chatted. And Blair had this clay head on a pedestal. And Rondé said, yeah, we talk about whatever. He'd grab some clay, clump it on there, shape it out. We talk some more. And about 2 hours later, I looked at it. I'm like, damn, that looks like me. It's unbelievable how this guy works. He's got these little scraper things and all that. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Yeah. Can you imagine how hard it was to do Troy Polamalu with the hair?
Yeah,
that's
impossible.
Impossible. Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of bust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So good. What a night though. Really nice to see everybody and catch up and some of the guys we see a lot and some people we haven't seen in a long time and it was just nice and everybody was there for so many. I haven't seen that much love in a room. It was just poor Rondé, man. He was hugged out and selfied out by the end of the night.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. I guilty.
Exactly.
Did you see Chris Berman was there? I passed on chatting with him. I'm not a big.
He was in his world.
Yeah.
I opted not to as well, but you could walk past 3 or 4 people at any time. I even chatted with Brian Glazer.
Yeah, I chatted with Brian for a long time. Yeah. He was like right in front of me for the CeeLo Green, like he and his wife were right there, and he was one of the movers. Like he was actually, there's, as you know, at some of these concerts, I look around, I'm like I'm moving, I'm dancing, I'm a dancing fool, you know me. But I look at some of these people like, how can you stand like a statue watching CeeLo Green and listening to that music? Like you'd have to put me in a straitjacket. I was no way I'm not going to move. And there were people that were just standing there, but Brian was not one of them. He was moving.
The beat's going, the horns are going, CeeLo's doing his thing. And here's part of his act. All right. He works with it. He knows what he's got, and he's up there jiggling and wiggling, and he's like,
there's a lot of jiggle going on.
I'm owning it. I'm not ashamed. This is part of my deal. One of our from our Buccaneers broadcast, preseason broadcast, James Petrulka, a great guy, who works up in the booth with Chris and Rondé, said CeeLo was on my flight going up to Akron, and I said, hey CeeLo, it's nice to see you. I'm going to the party Saturday. And he's like, oh, yeah, see you up there, bud. And he goes, so we get to the airport, and they bring a wheelchair down the jetway, and it's for CeeLo.
Yeah.
He rolls out on a wheelchair, and I'm like, damn, he doesn't need a wheelchair tonight on stage.
No. No. He must have got an epidural or something because my man was shaking it. He was shaking it.
Yes, he was. He was
and
shaking
sweating it too. It was fantastic. And the speeches were amazing. What did you think of Rondé's speech?
Which one, the real one or the party one?
The party one was good too. Yeah, that was very colorful.
It was good. He told a great Warren Sapp story about spilling water on him as a rookie.
Yeah.
And Sapp said what the consequences were going to be. And but at the Hall of Fame, the speech was great. I kind of had a hint at some of the talking points. He said that he wanted to get Tiki into the conversation. He didn't want to blatantly go out there and lobby, but he said, all I want to do is bring up his name in the conversation sense. And I think he accomplished that with the stats, the career stats. Got 2 jabs in at Tiki, which I've been around them a couple of times now, and it is uncanny the way they are. They finish each other's sentences like twins, and one has to one-up the other at all times. It doesn't matter what they're doing. They could be pouring a drink, and they have to one-up each other. But he got the jab in about the bust, now looking like Tiki. And then he was going through his stats.
The more
says, pro bowls and all pro. Which, by the way, I have more than Tiki. So that was terrific. And so Tiki got a good laugh for that one. And we talked at the stadium there in Canton. We talked to Claudia and also his mom, Geraldine, right after the
awesome
ceremony. Claudia she had to gather herself just to talk to us, and she was great. So I asked her the first question. I just said, "How proud are you right now?" And she clung to me, basically holding herself up. She was shaking. She was in an out of body experience, and that's when it hits you. You see, you hear these Hall of Fame speeches, and sometimes you don't know the guys very well. They're thanking people, but you saw the love on the stage from Rondé, and then talking to Claudia after, you saw what it meant to the family, and to achieve that in his occupation, it's the highest of the high. What a day. And I've been to 3 of those, and I really loved the Derek Brooks one, but this one topped it by far. And I told Rondé at the party Saturday, he asked me what I thought, and I said, I got kind of emotional when you put the jacket on Friday night. We were at the gold jacket ceremony. When you did the bust with Tiki and you gave the speech, I thought, this is cool. This is very cool. But Friday night, when Tomlin put the jacket on him, there was a half second where Rondé didn't know what to do. And I've never seen Rondé not know what to do.
Right.
And that's because how when something that you want so bad hits you, and he's got the jacket on his shoulders, and he kind of locked up for a half second there. That's when it got me. That 16 years of playing, 4 years in college, all the high school, all the dabbling in other sports, and deciding that, as his theme was, I want to do this and I want to be uncommon. In a half a second, he put the jacket on and hit him. And that was something.
That's cool.
Still kind of gets into me there. And then he was waving to the crowd. And after that, I couldn't stop smiling. I was so happy for the guy.
You mentioned Claudia, and I don't want to just pass over that. I can't. And people will say, "Oh, yeah, it's got to be really hard to be the wife of a rich NFL guy." It is. I'm here to tell you, it is. It's really hard. There's a lot of demands on you. There's a lot of people that are judging you everywhere you go. There's so many things that you need, that Rondé needs support on. Just getting back with people like this thing. The Hall of Fame thing is 421 people for the party. I mean, getting choosing everybody and who comes and who doesn't, and getting them there, and like family and friends and tickets and requests and it's insane. And you got to say no to a lot of people. You got to say and it's hard. It's ridiculously hard. And at the same time, you have to keep. I mean, we all have hard enough time with our relationships without all this excess pressure.
Right, exactly.
Money's not one of them. I get it, but money's not the only pressure in the world, right? There's a lot of stuff that got swirling around, and she handles it with incredible grace and temperament. And I say hats off. And when you can keep your marriage together through all of that, that's a Hall of Fame moment as well, in my opinion.
Well, she's a Hall of Fame wife and a Hall of Fame human being. I'll just go right to Saturday. and say there were a couple of times once when I was talking to Rondé and Tiki was right next to me, and she, in the middle of all the glad handing and the stories, she was able to tap him on the shoulder and say, "Look, you need to go over here."
Right.
I mean, she made sure that I would imagine that it wasn't just the A-listers that she made sure he thanked. I imagine she made him keep moving through the room. I would hope that every single person that attended that party shook his hand, and I bet they did. And
Yeah.
Claudia was a big reason for that. And throughout the process, I know the Buccaneers helped a little bit, and I'm sure some of the cost was defrayed by that. But the Bucs,
I heard the Glazers footed a lot of that bill.
Well, they went all out for it, you know.
They sure did.
As we've described. But Claudia was really running the show for him. And remember, she's doing this. She's just as emotional.
Yeah.
And she had the daughter, but the daughter.
Oh yeah. By the way, raising 2 daughters at the same time. Amazing daughters, by the way. Amazing daughters.
Go back to his playing career, and as he described it to us, in a span of 2 years, he starts playing full time in the NFL. He gets married. He has his first daughter. He wins a Super Bowl and has a second daughter, and then has a free agency contract come up. His first bout of free agency, all in a span of 2 years. And he told us that John Lynch said to him one day, "Dude, when you get married and have kids, that first year, that's usually your worst year in the league."
Yeah.
For Rondé, that was 2001. He had 10 interceptions in 2001. And so he's like, "Oh, it was the opposite. It was the best year of my career."
Yeah. And you got to remember,
he
studied tape. I used to go over his house and study tape. You know, he's got kids, and Claudia's taking care of all that. While he studies tape for every single night, he comes to practice all day, at the facility all day, and then comes home at night and said, "Hey, honey, I got to go watch tape." You know, and that's where things could get, you know, a little bit. What about me? What about my time? You know, and
there was not that resentment, you know, for what he was doing. I think, you know, Claudia's perspective, and I've never sat down with her to ask that part, but her perspective was, this guy has got to. He's in an industry that is purely performance based. Right. And if you are not 100%, if you're not on your A game, you are out of work. And so she got that. And I can't imagine, you know, we talk about Rondé's longevity and never missing a game and that sort of thing. How many times did that guy come home at night just feeling like crap, nursing whatever, sore ankle, sore shoulder. And she had to get his ass out of bed the next day and to work. Mm-hmm. There's a lot hanging over her. He always said that especially when it was in season, that there weren't many times she would just hand the kids to him. She gave him his space. She did a lot of the work with the kids, and from the diaper change to dealing with, you know, school drop-offs and that type of thing, you know, as the years went by. But what a woman. I mean, this is as big for her and all of the families it is for the Hall of Famer. And I'll say this, on my flight up, I sat next to Zach Thomas's father, and I had no idea who he was. He was separated from his wife because they had an issue with the seats, and we were trying to move seats around and to get them to sit together. And finally, she decided, let's just leave it the way it is. Everybody's settled. And I looked at this guy and I said, "What did you do to piss her off?" And he started laughing. And then he asked me where I was going up for, and that's how the conversation started. And so I'm talking to Zach Thomas's dad on the flight up. I said, "Dude, I covered your son one game in college." And he goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I go Texas Tech played a game at Penn State in the mid '90s." And he goes, and so it jarred him. He goes, he remembered exactly what he ate the night before the game at a restaurant in State College. I'm like, dude, I go, how do you people do this? You parents and athletes, how do you recall this information?
I couldn't remember Kurt Warner's name 5 minutes ago. Exactly. All right. So, all right, we just gushed on Rondé and the family. You know what? They deserve it. You and I have spent a lot of time with them, and that's what you get.
Rundowns. I don't care about your rundowns. Scratching stuff out right now.
Nick's over there in the studio without AC, sweating his ass off, going, "Can we talk about some football for God's sakes?"
He's crazy.
Oh my God. So you got a little broadcast coming up Friday night, News Channel 8. You guys are doing the game, right? It's not a national game, right? You guys got
We got all three this year.
And Rondé's doing the game, by the way.
He's
get
going
back
to do
to
the
work.
game. Yep.
Get back to work. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit of coverage of the Rondé Hall of Fame mixed into the game a little bit, maybe just a smidge. Will we even see the game?
We're going to do some recapping, let's say that, and some moments from the weekend. Also, some of the things we talked about, when we had our big sit-down with him earlier this summer. And then next week at MetLife, we're planning to bring Tiki in to the booth with them. So that's going to be – that'll be really cool when those guys get together. You'll hear everything. If you've ever heard Rondé and Tiki together, for people that haven't, it is I just like to sit back and let them go.
They're awesome.
And listen to them. They're great. They're awesome.
Yeah. They literally fight like little boys. They fight like little boys. Yes, they do.
Grown men.
It's grown-ass men. It's so funny.
Right.
It's so funny. But other than that, how are you guys handling the Trask, Mayfield? This is honestly, from a media standpoint, what better than a quarterback battle, right? And this is a true battle. I said this on the show yesterday. Day one, I show up at camp. Mayfield competes a pass. Everybody's like, Baker, woo, Baker, yeah, you're gonna crush it, QB1. A week and a half later, Kyle Trask completes a pass. They go crazy. Kyle Trask, QB1, baby, QB1. I'm like, you fickle mofos.
Exactly.
But that's what it is. This is for real.
Well, Baker said, we all know now, everybody's counting the interceptions that he's thrown in camp, right? So read into that however you like. Baker, the last time he spoke to us, said, you're running around in camp, you're not necessarily trying new things, but you're working within the offense to see what the limits are. Now, for me, and I've only seen a handful of these interceptions, not all of them. If the interception is because of his technique, then that's a concern. But if sometimes the interception is because the guy running the route is off. So I can't judge that till I see the game. So if he comes out here Friday and throws 2 picks, that's concerning.
Right. Exactly.
And then you now have the coaching staff not only continuing to praise Kyle Trask, but saying that he stepped up, and those around him are saying the same thing. It does kind of create a little bit of drama going into the first game. And I believe it was Mike Evans. Didn't he compliment how Trask has handled himself and that he likes to look back and see that tall quarterback? That kind of raised my eyebrow a little bit there. I'm thinking, well, wow, could he actually be favoring Trask?
It's it's dramatic. If you've ever played receiver in a game, which I not an NFL football game, but I've played and I've also quarterbacked. And last year was dramatic for me because watching Tua, right? Tua go against the Bucs defense, and I was sitting from the end zone view. They were coming at me, and he would drop back to pass, and all you could see was just like the tip of his helmet. That's all you could see, and then you'd lose that as he dropped back to pass. And if Waddle was running a route or Ty Hill, they're running a route, the ball, it's just a pocket, and all of a sudden the ball just appears out of the pocket. It just appears. You don't see a wind up normally. Unless there's a passing lane. You just don't see the wind up. You don't know when he's about to deliver it. It just kind of appears out of a group. And with Brady, you see his top of his torso. You see him setting the ball. You see him winding up. Now, it works both ways in terms of defensive backs as well, but as a receiver, you want to see that. You want to be able to pick up the quarterback, and so you can adjust to the football as early as possible. So it's a thing. It's just, there's no doubt it's a thing.
And if you think about it, too, in Mike's career, the only quarterbacks that have thrown him passes have been, Josh McCown, Mike Glennon, Jameis Winston, Tom Brady. Like, all those guys are, 6'5" and above? Like, the last time he caught passes from a quarterback that was, like, Baker's size was, 12 years ago in college? And obviously he performed well then, but it doesn't shock me at all that Mike likes to see a big guy there behind him.
Well, the other adjustment Mike's going to have to make this year is it appears this offense is going to be moving the pocket at the very least and give the quarterbacks the opportunity to go horizontal, as they say. And that will cause all the receivers to adjust as well. That's something different for Mike. That said, in the 7-on-7s and the 11-on-11s, Evans is absolutely shredding, and he's having success in this offense. I would have to imagine that's from both quarterbacks. I think he's flourishing in the offense, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing when the season gets going, is seeing Evans be the priority. I just felt like last year, I don't know why. I don't know why, but last year Evans he still got his 1,000 yards, but he just seemed to be almost a non-entity in some games. And I don't know if that was his fault.
No, is the play calling, the offense is just dysfunctional and a disaster. And I always wondered this because, he always got doubled. Is like, move him around. Why don't you move him in the slot? Why don't you move him, get him in motion? It's much harder to double a guy. And that's what Dave Canales is doing. And he loves it. And as Mike has famously said, I've never been this effing open in my life. And I think, fantasy players alert. He's going to have a huge year. I think Mike Evans is going to get 12 to 15 targets a game.
Yeah. Chris Godwin on the other side, on the outside, is going to open that. It's going to open for both, really. Yeah. I think it's just ingenious putting Godwin out there. They started it because they wanted to protect him a little bit from the abuse he's been taking with those inside routes, and obviously a devastating knee injury from it. But now you're opening it up for him as well. So you're just making options for the quarterback, and maybe the whole Mayfield thing is he has to move out left or right to see what's going on down the field. But I mean, it's not like Baker Mayfield, can't play this game. We've seen him.
Oh, he's done it.
Do it before. I just sometimes what's gotten in his way is Baker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you just keep this guy focused and centered and focused on the big picture, that would give him a chance for success. Then the challenge. Let's say the Bucs are successful with it. The challenge now is for him to sustain that, maintain that, and not become Baker of previous years that just started to self-destruct. Now I can make this throw. Now I can make that throw. Oh, now I just function within what they're asking you. And I think they could. I think they could be more successful than people are predicting.
Yeah, we don't want the Baker, the interception maker. We want the touchdown maker.
Exactly.
All right, Dano. We will see you Friday night on the sidelines. Pregame starts at what? 7:00? Am I?
The game at 7. So this is the one early one.
Okay.
7:00 game. So 6:30 pregame, and then leading up to kickoff. Chris and Rondé upstairs. Let's do a little nod to the weather gods. I don't like the monsoons in August. Those are no fun.
No.
So
lightning delays are not part of the broadcast.
Right, exactly. So we'll be fun. Football's back, and this is the first time in years that we've got some legitimate questions in many areas, and I think makes the preseason a little more relevant than normal. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Hey, before you go, I'll leave you with this. We had a listener who was busting your chops a little bit over here in the comment section. I had to read this.
Yeah, nice.
It's not nice, but I'm going to read it anyway. He said, "Good stories, Dan, but next time you call into the show and in the name of all that's holy, please don't call from your Motel 6 bed. That headboard is killing me."
I had to go to the back office.
That's a fine oak headboard, it looks like, right there to me. I don't know what he's talking about.
Listen, you go to Rooms to Go, get one of these, I don't make payments till 2050. So there you go. I'll outlive this.
Yeah. That's fiscal responsibility right there from the great Dan Lucas, News Channel 8. All right. Thank you, my friend. Good stuff. All right. I guess we should hit a break here. The Jeeves Law Group was the main sponsor of this tremendously mediocre program. JeevesLawGroup.com, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. Get that personal attention you so richly deserve. They are the best law group out there. They will fight for you vigorously and get you a great settlement, and they will call you back, which is a big deal, folks. They are big enough to compete with the big boys, but small enough to give you the personal attention that you deserve. Local folks, they do great things in the community here. They sponsor the streetcar, the Bayshore Walk, all the great things in your community that you love. So give it up for the Jeeves Law Group. If you need any legal advice, they are the folks to go to. All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into some Kyle Trask audio. We got some college football to talk about, conference realignment, and on-the-field stuff, and a lot more. Stay with us. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by. Never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches
in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. TrueBody offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports.
It's only just begun.
Back to the JP Peterson Show. We thank you very much for our sponsors who allow us to go commercial free for the entire first hour. So we'll give them lots of love here in the second hour, please. BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you have your testosterone levels checked, you'll probably find out that they're not where they should be, and it is not a frivolous thing. Don't go to a one-size-fits-all clinic. Go to Bay Area Modern Medical Center, where they will do everything individually and get you a plan that works just for you, where they'll monitor it just for you. That's the right way to do it safely, and it will just be a complete game changer in your life, guys. Almost everyone out there needs it because of the pollution and our food supply that has basically depleted our testosterone, guys. So go get it checked and then get it right at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. It is absolutely essential to your overall health. So please, please, please get it done. It'll make you feel better, make you perform better, make you do everything better. It's where it should be. And Italiano Insurance, great folks, saved me $1,000 on my auto insurance the other day. Great customer service. Gold and Diamond Source, if you're getting married, gonna pop the question, no other place to go. Come on. Also, if you got any flatware around, anything silver or gold, bring it in. They'll pay you top price. Right now, that's a big thing they got going on over there. Extravaganza Productions, our great folks over there, Dolly and Paul Thomason. If you got an event coming up, large or small, go have a free creative session with them. It'll be fun. They'll show you the warehouse, all the different props they have, the crazy stuff they got in there that you see at all the big parties, and they'll find out what they can do for you. So go to extravaganzaproductions.com and reach them. And American Mortgage Services, my good friend Scott Fitzgerald, he is ready and waiting for your call. Refi, new house. He has all these creative things he can do to keep those rates low and get you in that new house that you so desperately need. So don't go to the big banks. Go to the guy who's done 3 of my mortgage, thousands of mortgages locally, works for a lot of athletes and coaches, big loans, small loans, does it all. Scott at AMS Tampa, Scott at AMStampa.com. Thanks to all our amazing sponsors.
Hey, we had a couple camp updates if you like them for today. It just wrapped up. Sounds like because everybody's
today, huh?
I was going to say, I'm going right to that because everybody's talking about the interceptions and we've making a big stink about Baker's and all that. And it looks like Kyle threw 3 today, including one to end practice.
They were must-throw scenarios, I think, we were told.
Right.
It's 4th and whatever, you got to throw it. So
right. But the big play of the day, though, came from Kyle Trask. He connected, and this has been something they've struggled with. He connected on a 50-yard touchdown pass down the field to Mike Evans, who I guess completely just turned a rookie corner around and got open wide down the field, and Kyle Trask connected with him, and that popped the crowd. So that was the big play today. So for those of you who are charting the interceptions, there you go. It looked like Baker threw 2. So what is it? 9-4?
How about we start talking about the guys getting the picks? Jamel Dean got a pick today.
Jamel Dean got a pick. A couple rookies have gotten both. The first 2 that Trask threw were Savasier Dennis and the rookie corner whose name escapes my mind right now. So, yeah, the rookies seem to be showing out, too, and the defense.
Josh Hayes? Was it Josh Hayes?
It was the undrafted kid who started with an I believe. Isaac, I think.
Izzian, yeah. He's been playing great in camp. You never know until they play other people, but there's a lot of optimism about the undrafted free agents like Izzian, like Sean Tucker, like and even the lower drafted guys. Josh Hayes in the 6th round looks like a steal. It's just all these guys could really, really contribute this year. And that's, I've said this many times, this season is not about winning the Super Bowl. This is about building blocks for the future. How many are we going to find? Is Kalijah Cansey going to be that guy? Is Cody Mark going to be that guy? Is Yaya Diaby going to be? All these guys, when you hit on 3rd rounders, hello, Rondé Barber, this is what helps you build a championship team. I think Travis Kelce was a 5th rounder, right? Mm-hmm. When you hit on these guys and you get foundational Pro Bowlers for the future, and they keep their salaries are low the first 4 or 5 years, that's how you build a championship team. So as much as we, the Godwins and the Evans, these are givens. Levante's a given. Levante's not going to be here when we win another Super Bowl, but he is a foundational piece that will be teaching Savasier Dennis how to be that guy. Savasier.
Who's actually speaking right now on the podium. Maybe we'll have that sound later. But your boy Savasier.
Let's get into a couple other things, shall we? How about the college football preseason poll? You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we can get into these completely meaningless polls that we all love to overreact to. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, who was it? Let's go back to last year's top 10. Where was Miami? Like 7 or some ridiculous thing? Crazy. Well, I know this. FSU was number 8. I'm looking for the actual numbers right here. Of course, why would they be on the front page of ESPN?
I got it pulled up here on my end.
Go ahead.
You have the typicals up front: Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, LSU 5, USC 6, Penn State 7, Florida State 8, right in front of Clemson at 9, and Tennessee 10, which wraps out that portion. So not many big surprises in there, I guess. It's funny how everybody's been talking about, though, LSU's the front runner in the SEC West, and then when it comes to actually putting this on a poll, I don't think anybody was wise enough to put that, because when you do this to Nick Saban, you know what happens.
It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. There is no program around this country that takes this stuff to heart more than the Alabama football program and Nick Saban. And everybody's talking about who's their quarterback going to be, and it's going to be a drop off from Bryce Young. I don't know who the quarterback is going to be, but I bet you by midway through the season we're going to be talking about a Heisman, because that's just what Alabama does. And I ain't picking LSU over them. I don't care if they beat them last year. I'm not going against Nick Saban. Ain't happening.
No, don't do it. They got quarterback issues.
They'll figure it out. Maybe with Georgia, everybody's like, this Carson Beck, is he going to be the real deal? I promise you these schools will figure it out. I promise you they'll figure it out.
Listen, Stetson Bennett made plays. Ain't no doubt about it. But there was a lot of quarterbacks that could win a national championship with that team. Those guys. I mean, how many people have they put in the NFL in the last 2-3 years? I mean, it's just the talent level at Georgia right now is ridiculous. I was reading a story about NFL scouts, going to Athens. It's like a cottage industry now. I mean, it's half the Athens income comes from NFL scouts visiting football. It's just ridiculous. I'm looking at ESPN's page, and I just got to laugh. The stories, fire breathers only. The story of UAB's big gamble on Trent Dilfer. Big gamble on Trent Dilfer. The guy you fired, why? Why'd you fire him? That'd be interesting. Greg, best analyst you had. Here's another one. Is Florida State trying to create chaos? ACC insiders react to Seminoles' comments. Oh, who gets hurt if the Noles leave the ACC? ESPN, because they got that ridiculous contract that they're hoping to make gazillions of dollars off because of the stupid ass ACC people that signed away their grant of rights till 2036. Got news for you: FSU ain't playing that game, and here's ESPN attacking them for it.
And by the way, if you've been paying attention to the latest news today, about what's going on with the ACC and how they're trying to bring in Stanford and Cal, I guess.
Another reason why FSU is like, really?
What is this? Yeah, if this is their last ditch attempt to convince FSU and some of the other big players to stay, I don't see how. Besides academically, which doesn't matter that much in this situation.
Nobody cares.
How in the world does Stanford and Cal necessarily make a difference here?
Because the people that make these decisions, these elitists at the top of the academic food chain, can all get together and talk about what great universities and how great we are academically and how we've exploited these athletes for so long and we've made money off it. Oh, were we supposed to say that out loud? Nope, we should have said that out loud. I mean, just hypocrites to the nth degree.
It is.
It's just ridiculous.
It's funny,
and all the people. And here's a little insider for you. Since day one at the ACC, the people at North Carolina and Wake Forest, and they've all looked down their nose at Florida State because of the academics. In fact, they didn't even want them in the. There were a lot of people that didn't want them in the ACC because of their academics. And and there are people that are actually like ESPN saying, "Oh, Florida State's creating chaos by leaving the." Shut the F up. This is about options. Money for you and you keeping the money instead of Florida State exercising their brand and getting the hell out of a conference that is imploding. And by the way, never gave a rip about football.
Yeah, and then that kind of funny. Isn't it kind of funny too? Like when you hear anybody on ESPN or FS1 for that matter, that's hype that might be pushing back on what's going on in college football, and it's like. It seems almost ironic coming out of the mouths of people that work for those networks.
Hypocritical.
Because the people that are you're paying your bills are the ones who are creating this and are loving it. And I can't stand, but the ones who defend it though, and I was listening, it's funny, you were bringing up Colin Cowherd and something you heard. I was listening to him yesterday and he was talking about college football realignment. And I'm just shaking my head the entire time watching the TV. I almost had to turn it off because he doesn't get it. He just making fun of all the people who are traditions. Who cares? The game's fine. This and that. And it's like those are the people that just think that way, man. I just question if you've ever loved college football. If you ever truly loved it in the first place. The way he disregarded the rivalries, he's like, yeah, you can still have your little Apple Cup and your little this, and Florida State will play each other every year. Like it's like diminishing it. It's like those are the things that college football has always been founded upon.
That dude is such an elitist sellout. It's not even funny. He's totally changed his perspective on so many things. When he moved to the left coast, he is a complete inauthentic. I used to love Colin Cowherd. I love that guy. I listen to him every day. He is unlistenable. He contradicts so many of the philosophies he used to have.
I meant to say
such an elitist a-hole. I just can't take it anymore.
Last week, I forgot about this one. Last week, I didn't even tell you. He was already theorizing his, the Bucs are going to get Caleb Williams, and he's like, and they're going to make a call to Lincoln Riley, and Lincoln Riley's going to be the Bucs front runner for the head coach. Like he's already trying to just plant that seed right there.
Well, I'm shocked that he wouldn't even consider Lincoln Riley leaving the wonderful paradise that is Southern California, the greatest place on earth to live. And go to lowly dysfunctional Tampa? He's actually postulating that? Oh my God, he's always said Tampa's dysfunctional, blah, blah, blah. And then his boy Tom Brady goes and wins a Super Bowl. Oh, yeah.
What's he call it? He said loose. Tampa's loose.
Yeah. He never, Tom Brady's not going to Tampa Bay. He would never do that. That's a joke. Oh, really? Wrong.
I just want to know what the definition is of loose, because I'm like, when I think of loose, like Southern California, that seems loose.
And the best part about it is he based it on when he was here in 1924. It's like, oh yeah, we haven't progressed at all. We're just a bunch of yahoos from the 50s. Yeah, that's it. That's who we are. That's a great, accurate
Yeah.
representation of Tampa Bay.
And it's not just him. It's everybody. If you listen, I turn up the TV sometimes. I have it usually on the background, and when they start talking about the Bucks, I kind of turn it up just to see what they said. And he thinks that Baker ought to retire if he can't beat out Kyle Trask in the quarterback competition. He's always had his vendetta against Baker. You had Stephen A. yesterday at the IMG Academy. What do you think about the Buccaneers? Well, I don't think anything about them, actually. I don't think much about them at all. And
who said that?
Stephen A. Smith at the IMG Academy thing that he's involved with. So again, and I don't really think I have to say this, but I'll say it again. Please do not get your information on the Buccaneers from those who are not in the circles.
Well, I just look at I love my man Sal Pal. He's the best, and congrats to him getting another contract. They have some great people over there, but the higher ups have trashed that network, man. They have turned it into just that's why they're hemorrhaging money.
Look at what we're doing with these shows. We're firing great people on both sides. How many big free agents are out there that could use, a job or something like that because of what ESPN did? Yeah. And I look over at FS1, and there's the report yesterday that Richard Sherman is going to be the new co-host majority of the time with Skip Bayless. And I understand they had that run-in 10 years ago. It's going to create great TV. And I like Richard Sherman. Nothing against him. But then you see that, Lil Wayne's going to do the show with Skip Bayless on Fridays. And it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? There's competent people who know what they're talking about who are free agents, and we're requiring Lil Wayne to do segments with Skip Bayless on Fridays. That's where we're at in sports media. Really? That's where we're at.
I mean, I'm clearly not their target demographic, but
who is?
I don't know.
Skip Bayless and Lil Wayne
like they try to program for people that don't watch their. Again, how many times have I said that? This world is full of these companies that are just ignoring their core values and their core audience to pander to somebody else that doesn't give a rip about their product. NASCAR is a perfect example. ESPN is a perfect example. I mean, there's a lot of perfect. There's a local radio station that's a perfect example. I mean, your core audience has absolutely left you because you left them. That's right. It's not good business. It's not good business.
Right. I even saw a clip yesterday.
Nothing against the people. I'm just saying that's just bad business.
Yeah, I even saw a clip yesterday, and this was from 10 years ago. I don't know if you saw it, but it was going around, and it was Merrill Hodge, who, for the life of me, I can't figure out why that guy was let go from ESPN.
Loved him.
I mean, talk about great memories. Listen to him, but
him and Jaws with Sal Pal on the matchup show.
Oh, right.
I learned so much football on that.
Was it Tom Jackson or Tom Jackson, right? Who was on that show too, I believe, with Chris Berman and all those guys. So good. But no, there was the clip going around of Merrill Hodge, and he was nailing the Jadeveon Clowney scouting reports when he was the first overall pick. And he was like, Jadeveon Clowney is going to be an average player in the NFL, and I would take Khalil Mack and not think twice about it. And all the people on ESPN at the time were like, are you serious right now? And it's he put great discussion about it and was studying tape on Sports Center. And it's when do you get that now? You don't have anybody that really does that nowadays.
Sal Pal.
Yeah, you get some guys Sal Pal does it on the matchup show with Greg Cosell, who another one is a gem, absolute gem. Greg Cosell. Dan Orlovsky gets the chance to do it from time to time on NFL Live, and I enjoy it.
Dilfer was fantastic at it.
Yeah, but that's the sports media for you nowadays.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, that's why you guys are listening to us, the independent voice. That's the independent voice. That's what you got to listen to. The people that aren't controlled by the corporate conglomerates. That's us. And if you want to support the show, JP at the JPPetersonShow.com. We love to take care of your advertising dollars, help your business out. So hit us up. What else we got that we need to hit today?
I was going to point this out too before we get to the Trask audio and all that kind of stuff. But the Rays, obviously, Cardinals coming in tonight, which I'm looking forward to after the day off. But the bigger thing is if I'm trying to get more optimistic about Shane McClanahan, it's not working. Right, with all the news that's coming out, we don't have a diagnosis. And I saw he spent the whole weekend in Los Angeles getting a second opinion, and then only for them to come out of that. And now that he's going to go see another doctor for another opinion, and all that tells me is they're not getting information they want to hear.
Right,
essentially. So I'm just I hate to speculate without getting the answer, but just following the tea leaves here, it's hard not to say that it's going to be see you in 2025, Shane.
2025. Think about that.
That sucks. That absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
For
It's
him,
brutal.
first and foremost, but obviously for this team where it just feels like something always gets in front of their way, like just derails them.
Glass now going to a doctor as well. Great to see Wander doing his thing, man. That's awesome. He has really picked it up in the last 3 games thanks to Lil Baby. Is that right?
Lil Baby helped him out here.
Yeah. So they got the Cardinals coming in and Paul Goldschmidt, and a Cardinal team that should have been better, but they're not.
No.
And now the Rays need to pick up a couple of series wins here at home and try and catch the Orioles, who are on fire. By the way, did you hear about the White Sox? Did you hear about that deal?
You had Middleton, the guy that was traded, that called them out for the bad culture, right?
Yeah, like pitchers falling asleep in the bullpen, like pitchers not even showing up for their fielding practice,
right.
Guys missing meetings, and like zero consequences. Pedro Grifol is the new first-year manager, and it's just like, a complete crap show in Chicago. I just like, the money is too big, man, for these guys to be doing stuff like this. And if you're the ownership group, how do you not like fire that guy right today? Like,
if you listen to Rick Hahn, the general manager, and it was kind of ironic. Middleton got traded to the Yankees, and they're playing the Yankees right now.
Yeah,
in Chicago. So it was very timely. And Rick Hahn was like, usually I wouldn't address something like this, but because he called out the organization and he put his name behind it, I felt I had to say something. And he pushed back on everything that Middleton said and defended everything that's gone on, and that nothing's happening. But I think it's clear to see that team's a dysfunctional mess. It's a dysfunctional organization. The star player, Luis Robert, earlier this year had issues where he's not running out ground balls and things, like literally like walking almost to first base. It's one thing not to like run it out completely. It's another to like basically walk down the line. It's clear to everybody there's issues there. So, but you mentioned
this yesterday about, how you see sports has maybe hit its zenith and interest is waning a lot of ways. You can look at different metrics, and I agree with you. And I think one of the biggest parts of it is the athletes don't respect the game anymore. They don't respect the game. They bring their politics, and I'm all for using your platform, but not in your uniform at the game. I'm sorry. There's plenty of other places for you to do it, plenty of other, ways for you to do it. But, that's part of it. And then their lack of respect for the game. Guys, guys used to understand that it's a business, but you never let the public know it's a business. Or you never let the public know it's a business. Don't let them know it's about money. Don't let them know it's about just that. That's kind of the professional athlete's code of honor to each other. Don't let them know it's a business. Let them think that we're all in this and we're giving our all every single day for the love of the game. That's not true, but it should always be, the behind the curtain thing that this is a business. Now it's just all become a business. College football, Jesus Christ. Now it's all about money, right? Where like you talked about, you're ruining the game. You're ruining all the games. And I think people are just finally going, you know what? Yeah. I'm not gonna tune in to get lectured. I want to see a baseball game. I want to see a basketball game. I want to see a football game. I don't need
the other things that I've always pointed out too. I said this about the All-Star Game broadcast, and the same goes for all these separate telecasts we have now for every game. Like who's interested in listening to Michael Kay and Alex Rodriguez on a Sunday night baseball alternate broadcast where they're not talking about the game and they're just telling stories, and A-Rod's trying to be fake because that's just who he is. I'm over it. I'm over it. Like all these different things we're bringing in broadcast, just talk about the game. And that gets me really mad because then I come to this story that happened yesterday that I had to get to.
Oh my God, this is incredible.
This is freaking believable. Yes. The Orioles.
Do you have the audio?
Yeah, let me pull the audio up. I had it on my phone.
This is unbelievable. And this also speaks to how censorship is okay now. Like whatever you say, it's dangerous. I need a safe place. And there has to be consequences for everything. What happened to people having freedom of speech, for God's sakes?
This is not even, to me, this is like not even that deep. Like this is
this is just factual.
This is just a guy doing his job, telling facts. And again, you want to play the sound first? You want the context first?
Go ahead. The context first.
Yeah. So this is Kevin Brown, who is regarded as one of the better play-by-play announcers in the league. The Orioles announcer, and this was during July 23rd against the Rays, I believe. They were in the Trop, and he's talking about how the Orioles had struggled facing the Rays in the Trop. All factual news
historically.
And by the way, this was not him ad-libbing, okay? Because there was a graphic that popped up behind Kevin Brown,
Yes.
showing all these numbers that he's essentially just reading off. He didn't add any personal take in it whatsoever. Even if he did, I'd argue it's not a problem. But that was the context to this. And here from Kevin Brown first, and then we'll tell you what happened.
For the Orioles, Brandon Hyde has felt like this has been maybe the toughest ballpark to play in, but the Orioles have a chance to do something special today. They've already clinched at least a split in the series, winning 2 of the first 3, and they could pick up a series win behind Tyler Wells today. It's been a minute. The Orioles split a 2-gamer with the Rays in June. They had lost their last 15 series here at Tropicana Field. You have to go back to when our now colleague Brad Brock picked up the win in the series finale June 25th, 2017, the last time the Orioles won a series here at St. Pete. Already got 3-2 at the Trop this year after winning 3 of 18 the previous 3 years combined. It is a stark difference, Ben, and it is not a bad Rays team. It's not like all of a sudden the Rays became slouches in the American League East. They've led this division every day, but now 2, and the Orioles once again are back alone in first place.
Yeah. and that got him indefinitely suspended from doing his job.
First of all, that's the producer. Like you said, there's a graphic there. This is a production meeting. I've been in these meetings many times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to indefinitely suspend the announcer who's just reading the script for the day, then shouldn't the producers, the people in the truck, everything, the people that made the graphics, shouldn't they be complicit in this as well?
It's the most ridiculous thing ever because first of all, he's putting in context how good your team is now.
Yeah.
Like he's saying this is how good we have. It's been a while. You're putting it in historical context to understand what a great season this team is having. I mean, this is the dumbest, but this is a byproduct. I know it's not kind of a free speech thing, but this is a byproduct of this absolute asinine attitude that we've come to in America of all.
I'll tell you what it's a byproduct of.
You got to silence everybody if you don't like what you hear.
I'll tell you what it's a byproduct of. It's a 94-year-old man named Peter Angelos who's thin-skinned.
Right, exactly.
Yes. You're a thin-skinned 94-year-old man. Kidding me with this? This is a travesty. Again, we talk about sports media and how it's going down the drain. This was a black eye on the industry yesterday, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And good on Gary Cohen and good on Michael Kay on their broadcast for tearing this organization up. And by the way, this is an organization that has dealt through some tough years. You're having the best year that you've had in a long time. People think of you as a World Series contender. We're talking about those good things. And instead, yesterday, the Orioles were the #1 trend. This guy was being talked about on CNN and Fox News last night, not because the Orioles and their success on the field, but because of your 94-year-old thin-skinned owner who can't take a little bit, it wasn't even criticism. It was just facts that were stated on his broadcast. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable where we've come in this country. All right. Big thanks to our good friends at the Gold and Diamond Source. As I mentioned a little earlier, if you've got some gold bullion at home, and who doesn't have a couple of gold bars laying around, right? Silver coins, gold coins, silver flatware, anything of precious metal, take it into the Gold and Diamond Source, and they will give you cash money. And prices are high now, so it's a great time to sell your gold and sell your silver, sterling silver, whatever you got. Give them a call, tell them what you got, and then bring it on over. There's lots of things they will take that you may not think that they will take. So go just Google the Gold and Diamond Source. Go to goldanddiamondsource.com and contact them through the website and get on over there and collect your money. Of course, if you're going to buy that ring, no other place to do it. In fact, you can use that money and get a discount on the ring. How about that? Great idea. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with some Kyle Trask audio and Gator fans. I have some news on Anthony Richardson with the Colts as well. So we'll do that when we come back. Stay with us.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244. Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
Time to play football. That's the quote from Servassier Dennis as he gets ready for his first professional game, albeit a preseason game coming up on Friday. I believe I've made my credential request. I believe I will be at that game. Pretty sure I will be at that game. Nick Geddes back in our sweltering hot RHS TV.
Oh no,
studio.
the air is back on.
They got it back on.
I'm free again.
Congratulations! Yes. I had the beautiful new. How do you like the new Orlando studios? Nice backdrop here. We got all my major awards on the.
You know what it looks like? It's so structured.
Yeah.
It's so tidy.
Yeah.
It's so neat that I can say with confidence that you
had no part of it. That's funny because actually I did the whole thing.
Because I know, at least in my circles, like I have an office as well in our home, and let me tell you right now, I had zero designing influence on it whatsoever.
You'll be shocked.
From the colors of the walls to where things are placed in my office, I had no say.
This is 90% me. 90% me. There's the Big Red Machine signed photograph right there. My prized collectible.
Big Red Machine? Is that Kane? You got Kane back there somewhere?
No, the Big Red Machine. Johnny Bench.
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I know. I didn't know. Is that a rap reference?
It's a rap.
I have my picture of me interviewing Magic Johnson and Emmitt Smith, and of course Brad Johnson one had to have that. A few of those Edward R. Murrow awards back there. Couldn't find the Emmy though. I got to get. I think I lost my Emmy. My Emmy. My Florida State diploma that I almost threw out. I swear to God, I had it in a garbage box because something else was covering it up, and I'm like, oh, gee. So I saved that from the.
You don't need that. You don't need that thing. I don't even know where mine is. My UCF diploma. I have no idea, and I'm only 2 years graduate. Because
you didn't frame it.
No, I did not frame it. I'm not sentimental about those things. I'm not merely sentimental about certain things because in my eyes saw it, I lived it, and so that's good enough with me.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not a big picture taker or like holding on to those things.
Yeah, I'm exactly the opposite. Ashley calls me a sentimental hoarder. Boxes and boxes of stuff from my career. But
it's funny when you think about sports, you're completely opposite. You're not about the sentimentality whatsoever in regards to sports.
No, there's not when you're making decisions on your future. No, that plays should play no role. You don't pay for past performance. You pay for future possibilities. That's the professional game, and it's up to us who chronicle the game history to do that in our way, and then people can keep our articles or people used to keep newspaper articles. How about that? There are no newspapers anymore.
I just thought of this. I do know and still own my first ever article I wrote when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
J.A. Biztown.
J.A. Biztown.
Did your kids ever go to J.A. Biztown?
I think they did. That's like a little village where you do different jobs, adult jobs, right?
You do like the car wash of jobs kind of. You jump around. And they have
the fairgrounds or something?
I guess so. I don't even remember, but it was like fifth grade, and I wrote articles about I actually wrote a 2009 mid-season recap on the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2009 for J.A. Biztown. Nice. They published it in a paper there, and I still have the paper. I was writing about Simone Gagne and Alex Tanguay and all these guys as a 9-year-old.
I got to tell you this story. I hope you guys find this funny. So when I just moving, I covered a lot of my old artifacts, and I found my school newspaper from middle school, and the first article that I wrote on the middle school basketball team, of which I was a member. And so, because I remember writing this, I was asking my teacher, how do I write a story about a team that I'm on? And I'm one of the players. And she's just do the best you can. Thank you for the guidelines there. Appreciate that. But I'm reading this and I'm talking about my buddies new forward Joel McEwen just moved from Kentucky and will move into the starting lineup. Other starting forwards could be John Peterson, who I got to go find it. What I wrote, I was on the ground laughing. I was laughing so hard. Whose knowledge of the plays and execution makes him a front runner for the forward spot. I left out lack of athleticism and kind of fat.
And this, folks, is why we are taught on day one of journalism school conflict of interest. That is why it's covered immediately when you go to journalism school.
Well, there was nobody else on the staff to write the story, so I had to write it. That was funny though. I was like, and I was the editor of the paper, and my name is misspelled. That's portending of things to come.
You
The
misspelled
Olsen Viking Middle School.
You
Yes, and
misspelled John Peterson.
I left off the N. Wasn't me. It was my typist who did it. It was their fault.
What were you typing on back then?
One of those Hunt and Peck not electric typewriters. Yeah, that was definitely a treat to read that. So anyway,
Glad we know we learned how old you are. It's great.
Yeah, there you go. That was the bicentennial, 1976, I believe, or maybe 1977 when it snowed in Hollywood, Florida. Yeah, and pictures on the front page of the Olsen Viking. Yes, it snowed and our teacher told us. It's funny that the only day it's ever snowed, and we had windows in our classroom, and there was like a common area outside. So it starts snowing. All the other classes are running out into the common area so they could run into the snow. And our teacher was like, "You are not leaving your desks." I was like, nope, follow me. We rushed the door. I'm out. Sorry, teach. Here we go. Oh, I'll never forget that. You cannot leave this room. Bye-bye.
It's amazing how rebellious
more of us than they are of her.
As more rebellious as you've always been and a ringleader of that rebellion. It's amazing you're here with us today.
Yeah,
it really is.
I started early. All right, let's get to the Kyle Trask audio and stop all this shenanigans. Hope you enjoyed those stories. So why don't you go ahead and set up the Trask audio?
Yeah, I'll go to this first one here, which I thought was one of his better sound bites. And this was talking about, because we've heard so far in camp about his growing assertive, perhaps, in his leadership. So here was Kyle Trask talking about that, how his confidence has grown so far this season.
I mean, it's 100% absolutely grown since last year. I was just a young quarterback in the NFL trying to call a play in a huddle. It's kind of hard. You don't realize how much studying, it actually takes. You really have to, make it, your livelihood to go home and study, make sacrifices with your time. And I think I've just been trying to study as much as I can, and then it really, I feel like personally pays off when I come out here and I'm able to just be confident and play fast. So I'm just going to continue to do that.
Was there more to that one? I couldn't tell.
No, yeah, cut off there after that one.
Yeah, this is just part of the maturation, but listening to him and then listening to Baker, and Trask he just doesn't, he doesn't sound like Tom Brady. He doesn't sound like Jameis Winston. He just doesn't really sound like a super confident NFL quarterback. But that don't mean squat.
No, and it's like the way he answers. It's the way he starts every question too. After answering every question, he goes, like he does like that after every single answer to start. It doesn't come off like, like he's ready to go, and he kind of speaks in a different tone and everything. And then Baker speak, and it's completely different.
And I think this is one of the biggest reasons people didn't have any confidence in him. He just doesn't carry himself like that. The meme of him, like, what was it, Brady or what? No, I think it was Baker, whatever. And it's every picture of the quarterback groupings in the last 2 years. It was just, he was always behind and like.
Yeah, it was the Baker Mike one from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. And
he's just kind of Big Old Red is just kind of, lurking in the background there. We can't call him Big Red. That's Ryan Jensen, but we'll call him Old Red, I guess.
Old Red. Okay.
Old Red.
Can we call him the Red Rocket, the Red Rifle Rocket? Rifle?
Andy Dalton's already taken that nickname.
He's got the Red Rifle. Okay.
He's got the Red Rifle. Although Old Red probably reminds you of something completely different, unfortunately.
It does actually. Yeah. All right, next.
All right, we'll go to him on limiting turnovers, which thus far through camp he's done a good job of doing.
The past 2 years. So I think I have a much better idea now. So, I know what situations, you have to take more risks in. And I think if we can just play clean as an offense, that's going to give us the best chance to win in the end. And I'm just trying to do the best that I can do, which includes protecting the football. So
funny how he said that about learning what he can and cannot do in the offense, and Baker's obviously talked about that. And then today, and again, I didn't get to see that part of practice with my own eyes, neither did you. So I don't really know the context of the interceptions necessarily.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Can you infer maybe, or just put it out there, maybe he was taking more chances today, right? And you see what happens, and now the interceptions kind of start to pile up a little bit like they did for Baker, who we know has been taking more chances. I mean, It seems that's kind of the way I view it right now, again, without the benefit of seeing it with my own eyes.
Yeah, and maybe they're, kind of chiding Trask to take a few more chances, start pushing the limit.
He's got to be
what
more.
you can and cannot do.
Right, because here's the thing. You can not throw a lot of interceptions. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks do that, but how efficient are you going to be at moving the ball? Are they ever going to have big plays? Do you want to just be because you know who does a good job of not turning the ball over and playing within the offense, quote unquote? We talk about backup quarterbacks like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're safe.
Well, and you can look at Ryan. I don't know if Ryan Tannehill is a good example of this. There's just times when you have to take chances. You just can't be captain check down all the time. You're not going to score points that way. Your completion percentage will be in the high 60s, but you're not going to score points.
Yeah, and
that was part of the problem with Brady last year.
Dare I say, and this is a completely different end of the spectrum, but dare I say that's part of the reason why, and Aaron Rodgers, for example, has this incredible quarterback or touchdown interception ratio that's never going to be topped in the history of the NFL. But how often is he taking chances in certain situations, and is that a reason why he has not won as much in his career as you thought he would have?
Yes.
Right. Whereas Brady is more willing to just throw that thing in there and see what what happens. There's a balance there. Yep. Let's talk about, or hear him talk about, off-season work paying off this season.
The stuff that I've worked on in the off season, the guys that I've trained with in the off season, and be able to come back and implement that into this offense. I think, I've kind of almost surprised myself, just how I've been able to take what I worked on in the off season and actually have it. I think it has helped me a lot coming back this camp, and that's just going to be my focus. Is just like. If I ever get out of rhythm, just, getting back to, what I was doing previously, since that's been working for me. So just, staying grounded, staying focused, and, just trying to keep playing clean.
All right. That's enough. I can't take any more. He is boring.
I knew that was
boring. Oh my God. Does not really fire me up or reek of leadership. But there's different ways to lead. And leading by scoring points is the best way to do it. So none of this has any real effect on the quarterback competition in terms of how he talks but I do think I want my quarterback to have a little charisma. I want him to have some moxie, as Todd Bowles would say. I want him to have some sizzle. And you don't get it from a Kyle Trask interview. You get it from some of his throws. They sizzle, but I'm just saying.
I mean, again, like I said, when you go out there and you watch Baker throw and you watch Kyle Trask throw, who looks like the franchise quarterback?
It looks like Kyle Trask, but that's
looks on everything. I get it. Just same way that what you say in a press conference is not everything either.
But the way they play in the games, and maybe more importantly, the way they play against the Jets in those joint practices, are going to determine who's the starter. So I think it's these preseason games are huge.
I really want both quarterbacks, obviously, but especially Kyle Trask. Like, going against the Jets defense in those practices, that's one of the better defenses in the league, with the defensive mastermind at the helm with Robert Salah.
That's right.
Sauce Gardner on the outside. I mean, first of all, that's going to be appointment TV to see Sauce Gardner and Mike Evans. Somehow one of the best. That's probably the matchup that we're most looking forward to seeing. You get one of the best corners in the league, if not the best, versus one of the most physical receivers in the league. So I'm curious to see how Kyle Trask kind of adapts to that kind of that kind of, what goes on there.
Are those two guys really going to be going at it though in preseason? I think they're both probably professional enough. I'm
talking about during the practices.
Yeah, during the practices, you're right.
During the practices, I don't care about the game, but the practices, I think that's going to be the matchup that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that'll be the one-on-ones. Oh hell yeah, that'll be good. All right, let's hit one more break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap things up here. We got a couple more notes here. Tim Anderson fine. Oh, I got to give you the Anthony Richardson news too, as well, for you Gator fans out there who are like, why the hell was he not better at Florida? I don't know. Blame Dan Mullen. Back at 3.
Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to jeeveslawgroup.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. Just a couple minutes here to wrap things up. Some college football notes. The Gators will take on number 14 Utah and August 31st. That's how fast that's coming up. August 31st, like 3 weeks. 3 Fridays from now. I think it's
like
Friday or
18.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's like the opener, whatever it is 18 days away. So we're almost there.
And Napier saying yesterday that a lot of his first and second year players have got to step up. He's going to be playing a ton of young freshmen and sophomores. And this preseason poll has 5 teams ranked in the top 14 for them to play. Number 1, Georgia. Number 5, LSU. Number 8, Florida State. Number 10, Tennessee. And number 14, Utah. That is a tough schedule for a bunch of young players, but and Graham Mertz will be probably the starting quarterback. He's the transfer from Wisconsin, and Eugene Wilson from Gaither High, one of their big recruits, will be a very, very important part of their passing game. So you don't know a lot of these players' names, but the Gators are going to be young. They're going to be talented. But it's if they win more than 4 or 5 games, I will be shocked. Florida State, by the way, as we mentioned, ranked 8th in the preseason poll. They are already started fall practice. They'll be in Jacksonville on Thursday. Pat Burnham from the Osceola will join us from practice on Thursday. So we'll get an update on that. And
USF also practicing as we speak,
yes.
I believe, right now. They're continuing their camp.
Yeah, so we should have Coach Golish on the show coming up soon. We chatted about that at the golf tournament, so hope to have him on soon. And they are just absolutely running a breakneck offense. They want to run a play every 13 seconds. He's got 49 new players on this roster, 49 new players, lots of transfers from big schools, SEC schools, ACC schools. They're a complete unknown.
No, when he was calling plays at UCF, it was called the UCF fast offense.
Yeah, and they will go fast. I mean, up tempo. So, but you better get it right. Up tempo looks really bad when you're going 3 and out, and it crushes your defense. So that's going to be fun. They got a hell of a quarterback battle going there with Jerry Buchanan and Byron Brown too. So we'll see who wins that sucker.
Hey,
best thing college football.
Before we go, best thing I saw yesterday, real quick, was did you see the Aaron Boone ejection?
I did
last night.
Got his money's worth.
That was an all-timer. I love it. Yankee meltdown, who, by the way, have won only 2 of their last 11 series, and they came against the Royals and the A's.
They are. Sad. Aaron Boone is lost.
So sad. But the way he mimicked Laz Diaz when he get down to the crunch and he was like, and there's like a picture of like the AP that they caught him like in the middle of it, and his face is like it's like right in like the money shot, man. You got to go see the photo. It is hysterical. I love it.
The highlight of the Yankee season.
I love
it. Yeah. All right. Our thanks to Dan Lucas, who joined us with some great Rondé Barber and Claudia Barber stories. Thank you so much to Dan Lucas. And thank you all you guys for commenting today and joining us. We will be back. Good to see you, Jordan G. Thanks for coming back. Richie P, Christopher Cole, all our folks. We'll see you tomorrow, same time.